trying to figure out how to do the window frame. So one of those profiler things and then measure the corner. So what we're planning to do is basically make a rectangular window frame, and then the plywood's going to come and meet up just behind the sort of the face strip that we're going to put over the top as well. So got a bit of cardboard, cut the exact width of the wood that we have, and then made a little corner area. So used a profile to get this little corner shaped like that, and then done the other side too. This one will come down the side here like so, and meet up. So this bit is like the covering strip to cover up the boobies, but also to make it look like a slightly seamless join between the plywood that will come under here and the window frame itself. That's the plan. Well, step one is done. Took a little bit of jiggery pokery to get this all fitting, because it's angled in this way, but it's also slightly angled downwards as well. So trying to get these back corners sort of smoothed down, and this is all angled here. Try and get it to fit neatly in there. No, not really. I'm going to make another one of these, make sure it kind of fits up here, and then do the side bits, and then finish with the trim. But this has taken the longest to just get it just right. But hopefully now I've got a template, this one should come in a little bit easier. Framework is kind of made, and then we're just going to glue it in place, clamp it to the window, hope for the best, and then offer up the bit of plywood. And we've cut a hole in the plywood. And the plan is now that the plywood, we know the hole is too small, but what we'll do is get a short pencil and then draw on the inside around the window frame so we can get an exact cut, and then take it off and then cut the plywood again and hopefully fit. Most of the van is held together with this stuff.
It's good stuff.
So the glue's set on the frame, and now the panel has got a sort of small hole cut into it, and we're just going to go around the inside where the frame is with a teeny tiny pencil. Beautiful. The magic pencil. Yeah, so obviously original cut, just a sort of random square, and then
so this should be the exact point that the inside edge of this frame. So now we just got to measure the thickness of the frame out from that line and then cut that.
yes.
You'd forgotten about the thickness of the frame.
Yes. I had. What does that say?
You're asking the audience. That tape measure's crap, you wouldn't use it on.
1.5 centimetres. Well, the side panels had its 2 coats of paint. Managed to get the hole cut to kind of fit the framework. And now we're just putting basically like cover strips to go over these bits, just to cover it up, make it look a bit neater. But because the van itself kind of curves a little bit here, and also here, it means that the panel, the plywood panel sort of curves in a bit, so there's not a lot for the cover strip to grip onto when it comes to gluing it in place. So I had to pack it out a little bit just to try and build up that gap. in there. So that's what this is at the moment. So this isn't going to stay here, this is just to hold it in place because I've glued it in now already. But made like a thin strip of ply, and then that's that depth. And actually in the centre here it's packed out with even thinner ply on top of that, just because it was extra gappy in there. So that's the job for today, is to finish off building the frame. Well, finish off building the covers for the frame to make it look nice and neat. Got the window frame all in. So I went for just sort of straight edges rather than mitering the edges, because that sounded very difficult and I wasn't sure I could get the join as good as, well, I think you get them as good as each other. So, not bad, pretty flush. Can I put flowers on the windowsill now?
They'll fall off when we dry it.
Can glue them down.
Gonna try and do panel out the roof. What we're gonna go for is some thin plywood so that we can curve it to the curvature of the roof panels all the way along, and then some wood slats, maybe cedar, sort of running the length of the van, to make it look pretty. That means, so we've got to get these sheets of plywood cut with obviously the roof fence, and then the van kind of curves in places.
Yeah, just some funky stuff here.
So we got to cut all those curves out, but it's trying to get it so all the cuts line up perfectly.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. We did put like, well, you cut little like buttons.
Yeah, so we've put plywood strips across the roof at each of the points so that we've got something to screw into. They're a bit harder to see now, they're covered in bubble wrap. But you can see. But we're trying to do it in as big a panels as possible so we have as few joins.
But it makes it harder.
In the roof, but that makes it quite a bit harder to
because we
move
got this
around
little
and get
thing
everything
to cut out as well.
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
But this bit facing up, so
give us a nudge. Okay, it's in. Could do a shuffling to the left. Do everything in cardboard first.
yeah. So that's what we've got to cut out. So that's going on there. So now,
Cutty cutty. So, everything begins with so. We decided that the cable would sit better against the bubble wrap, because then we don't have to conduit it. Hence why it got created up to this point here, and there's a join, so that you didn't have to create like a channel or anything in it. Was the plan. And then the cable would sit between the bubble wrap and the plywood, as discussed, between the two of us. So that happened, and now it's come to the actual putting the panel up. Decided that the first option of like running the conduit along and making a channel was probably the better one. So that's what we're doing. I say we. I'm getting the sellotapes all over me. Brett made a hole in here so that we can lay the track of conduit and then have the wire poke out here.
So channels all cut.
Yeah.
Conduits neatly tucked in there. So we're just backfilling a little bit of insulation and then dub it right back on. Reseal it all. Nobody will know, other than we just filmed it.
We told the whole of YouTube. So, if you want to do this yourself, learn from our mistakes.